Of the hour, the New York City mayoral race just 2 months away, and all eyes are on who, if anyone, will drop out of the now 4-person race. The New York Times reporting the Trump administration held discussions about a possible job in housing and urban development for incumbent Eric Adams if he stopped his re-election campaign. They write, quote, the goal, the people said, would be to give former Governor Andrew Cuomo a better chance of defeating Mamdani, the Democratic nominee in November's general election. Adams' campaign spokesperson, Todd Shapiro, firing back, saying, quote, although Mayor Adams has been the most pro-housing mayor in New York City's history, at no time did he ask for, nor was he offered, a job at HUD. Democratic Socialist candidate Zohran Mamdani criticizing the White House yesterday. Watch this.
That Andrew Cuomo is Donald Trump's choice to be the next mayor of this city. This is, however, about an affront to our democracy. An affront to what makes so many of us proud to be Americans. That we choose our own leaders. Not that they get to pick themselves. Not that they get to be picked by the President of the United States. If I was worried about polling, I wouldn't be the Democratic nominee.
Pretty sure we're going to have an election in November when people go to the polls and vote. If I'm not, I think I'm right on that. Republican mayoral candidate Curtis Sliwa, who was also named in that article, saying this on X. The only job I'm interested in is being the next mayor of NYC. I have not been contacted by the White House. I'm not interested in a job with the White House. My focus is right here in New York City, as it always has been. Mark Tepper, your reaction to this?
Well, based on polling, unless we can get this to a head-to-head mayoral race, it seems like Mamdani is going to cruise to victory. So I think it's super important that we come up with some sort of a strategy. And if positions have been gently offered to either Eric Adams or Curtis Sliwa, I think that could kind of help the cause here. A city that was built on capitalism, in my opinion, cannot have a socialist or maybe even communist mayor. If that were to happen, you're going to end up killing the golden goose just to try and, pretend like you're delivering city-run grocery stores and rent freezes, which I don't know how you can deliver that when all of a sudden the golden goose leaves and there's no more high-income earners to tax.
Look, we're 2 months away, and Mamdani has been trying to pivot away from the Democratic Socialists of America, which he is a member of the New York City chapter, and they've got some very frightening things on their platform. But pivoting back to this New York Times story that just got released, we had Mayor Eric Adams on this program, and I asked him about this. Watch this. Some that have said that maybe President Trump should offer you a job so that you would step out of the race in New York, clear the way for someone that's not Zohran Mamdani. Would you ever consider something like that?
Well, I have a job, the greatest job on the globe, the mayor of the city of New York. And when you think about it, I'm the only one that's running that has won being mayor. No one else has. Andrew ran in the primary. He lost by 12 points. Polls were showing that he was up, when in reality, he underestimated the unregistered voter. We're going to register 1 million new voters. We're going to allow the 91% of New Yorkers to come out and voice what they want our city to look like. Only 9% voted in the primary. 91% have yet to communicate. So the question becomes, do we want to defund our police or support our police? Do we want to empty Rikers Island and allow those dangerous criminals back in the community to impact them? Or we want to make sure that they serve their time for the crimes? Do we want to support small supermarkets, or do we want government supermarkets and dismantle the industry? So there's some real differences between the candidates that's running and the current mayor, and I'm going to show the New Yorkers.
All right, Todd, your reaction.
Look at you asking that question 2 months before it all started.
2 months ago.
So great job to you. I don't understand Mamdani's concern and feigned outrage over this. Everybody does this. This is kind of how this game works. The White House gives positions or offers positions, and that hasn't even been confirmed in this case, to a lot of people to move the chess pieces around to acquire their preferred candidate and the preferred position. So, I mean, he's just playing politics here, which you have to expect he was about to do, and he's been doing it for the last couple of months. The fact of the matter remains, to Mark's point, unless you get this to a two-man race, it's over. over, and that's concerning for me.
And if you actually go back to the 1992 presidential election, you have your case study right there, where Ross Perot, I think he got like 19% of the popular vote, and it handed the victory to Bill Clinton over George Bush.
Yep, absolutely. And, by the way, the other thing about, this is New York City. We are going to have a local election. And crime is actually down. Major crime is down 7% from August of this year to from August of last year to this year. And that's just a continuation. Zohran Mamdani, that's because of the gang database that they actually have, that the NYPD has and they use, which is, Eric Adams was part of the police department. And Mamdani wants to get rid of that, Mark. He actually wants to get rid of that. And as he tries to say, I'm not going to defund the police, he's trying to get rid of two different units of NYPD right now. That's what he's saying. If
you contrast Eric Adams and Mamdani, Mamdani is an idealist. Eric Adams is a realist. And he's spoken his mind and his opinion on matters that, are, I think, vital to the public, such as immigration, right, and the migrants who have really, infiltrated the city, and they're sucking up finances. He said that we can't afford them. He's, talked about crime. Mamdani, on the other hand, he's overpromising, and he will, if he wins, under-deliver. You can't lock everyone's rent in. If that were to happen, no one would build a new building. No one would renovate any existing buildings because there's no money to be made. Look, those policies don't work. Well,
and the buildings themselves, those landlords, a lot of those are mom and pop landlords.
Yeah.
And their property taxes and their insurance keeps going up, but they can't raise the rent. They're going to have frozen rent. The buildings are going to end up being vacant, fall into disrepair, and be condemned.
Exactly.
There's all kinds of stories about this.
I actually disagree with you, Chapper. I think he will deliver, and I think it will destroy the city on a lot of his things. Like he says, oh, no, I love the police. Now, let's see what he said in 5 years ago. That's ultimately what he wants to do and what he will do, because he's got a city council that's kind of close to him in what he ultimately wants to do. Yep. That's scary.
Well, I have reached out to Mayor Eric Adams. We'd love to have him come back on the program and speak with us. He's got an open invitation to come on and talk about this latest New York Times story, which we brought up 2 months ago, just to say.
Sure.
There you go. We are